Hey guys, what's up? How is everybody doing? Welcome back to No Huddle Fantasy Sports. Today is Thursday, November 12th, 2020, and we are talking Thursday Night Football DFS here on the channel. We're going to be talking about the matchup tonight between the Indianapolis Colts visiting the Tennessee Titans. Titans, of course, playing at home. The current spread on this game is pretty much a pick 'em. It's at -1 with an over-under right around 48.5, 49 for tonight. So, in my opinion, a decent matchup tonight between two, I would say, quality teams. I think it will be a lower scoring game overall. But nonetheless, we're talking Thursday night DFS. Over on DraftKings, we're going to build some lineups, talk about some plays. This is the captain mode video, the single game slate video. So we'll talk about captain, we'll talk about some leverage plays, and then players that I think you can put into your flex positions. Of course, as always, the disclaimer for these videos, this is just for fun. If you're trying to make money, make a living off of single game showdown slates, well, good luck. That's not what I'm here trying to help you guys do. I think for these particular slates, you just enter some lineups, get some investment into the game, and enjoy the game overall. I do not treat these games even closely, remotely similar to how I do Sunday main slates. But nonetheless, we're going to put some research in. We do know what we know in terms of the season so far. We know about these two teams. And so let's build some quality DFS lineups and navigate our way over here on the DraftKings app into the single game slate tonight. As always, if you guys are new here or simply haven't done so already, please make sure you are subscribed to the channel. We've been running pretty hot on NFL DFS, especially on the main slates, so you don't want to miss out on that. Please make sure you are subscribed to the channel, and if you enjoy these videos, please make sure you give it a like. I do really appreciate that. It goes a long way in helping support this channel. But nonetheless, we're talking Thursday night DFS football here. Again, I think you have a pretty good matchup tonight between these two teams. You have some decent defenses, especially the Indianapolis Colts defense. Really, the matchup tonight is a great defense in the Colts with a weak offense on the Colts versus a mediocre to weak defense of Tennessee with what I think is a much more talented offense in Tennessee. So it should be an interesting matchup nonetheless. My money tonight is on the Colts winning this game. So I'm going to approach this slate in a similar manner. I have reasoning for that. But let's talk about some players that I think you can build around in terms of a captain spot. Obviously the most important spot for these single game slates. But a couple of guys I want to look at here. I will start off by saying Derrick Henry is most likely going to be one of the most popular, if not the most popular play at captain. Good reason, right? He gets a ridiculous amount of usage, a ridiculous amount of carries. He checks the boxes of playing at home. Now, the Tennessee Titans, I mentioned it is a pick-em game right now, but they are technically a home underdog by a point. But nonetheless, a lot of people will obviously go to Derrick Henry here. For that reason, I think this is a ridiculously tough matchup versus this Colts good defense. I'm going to be avoiding it. And I should mention the Colts defense in general are pretty much top 10, top 5 against everything, whether that's against the pass, against quarterbacks, against running backs. They're just an elite defense. On the flip side, Tennessee's secondary is pretty good, but overall they don't have much of a pass rush. In addition to that, they are getting Clowney back today, which should help in terms of their pass rush. But in addition to that, their actual rush defense is also I think ranked right around the middle to maybe slightly below average in terms of a defense. So we're going to take advantage of those notes here as we go forward. A couple of guys, though, to mention for captain. I don't think you have to spend up for Tannehill. You can. I think that's one way to get different. I think you get some leverage there if you want to play Tannehill. But in general, I probably won't be tonight. I typically don't play quarterbacks at the captain spot, especially when it eats up pretty much all of your salary. I'll be skipping over Derrick Henry to try to get some leverage against the field there. Hopefully, he doesn't have too monstrous of a night. He will get his carries. He will get his usage. He will get his red zone carries especially, but we're going to try to avoid that here and move down the list. The first guy I do want to mention, I'm interested in playing Corey Davis. A.J. Brown in a great spot, always, or pretty much matchup proof. Now, in general, this isn't the best matchup for these receivers. I mentioned Tennessee's defense, secondary particularly, are good, is very good, actually. They're ranked, I think, maybe second overall from Pro Football Focus in terms of a secondary grade. I don't think the stats support that, but I think the stats still support they're a pretty good top 10 defense versus the pass. The downside here for playing any type of Tennessee player that is involved in the passing game, if we go back to Tannehill here and just quickly look at the game logs, you can realistically get games where he has 21 attempts and 10 completions. He hasn't had 20 completions in the last 3 games. So there's not a lot of targets to go around. That's something to be wary of. Although Tannehill is very, very efficient, throws multiple touchdowns in basically every single game. He's very good. He's a great quarterback, but just keep in mind, in terms of volume, it's not always there. I think tonight, if you believe they are going to trail, which I do, even though they're at home, I think you can play this passing attack from Tennessee. So A.J. Brown will be higher owned. He's more expensive, but I do believe Corey Davis does fit nicely in. Outside of last week when there was only 10 completions, he has had a number of games, especially with A.J. Brown coming back. It seems to have opened up Corey Davis a little bit here. 10 targets across week 7 and 8 individually, so 20 total targets there. Had a couple of good games, had 2 touchdowns in those games, is getting some red zone usage in terms of passing. I do like Corey Davis tonight. Again, we're talking leverage here. I think that gets you leverage on A.J. Brown ownership. I think it gets you leverage on Derrick Henry ownership at captain. I think that's a good spot for Tennessee, especially since I believe they're going to be trailing. I also believe going to Jonnu Smith here is a good spot for a couple of reasons. First being, I don't think very many people are going to play Jonnu Smith at 10-5 at the captain spot, especially when you have players like Henry, Brown, Tannehill, Corey Davis all ahead of him, all guys that do much more in terms of the passing game. This guy continues to get targets, not a ton. He has some red zone usage. The idea here is that the receivers, if you truly believe the receivers of Tennessee are in a bad spot versus this Indianapolis elite secondary, elite defense, then Jonnu Smith is technically in the best matchup in terms of tight end matchups. If you compare him to the wide receiver cornerback matchups, if you compare him just generally across the board for the whole week 9, or I should say this particular week, he is in the best matchup, one of the best matchups for tight ends. So, lot said there. The point is, he's in a decent spot, and if you think the receivers are going to get shut down, well, then some volume should go his way. I think for a cheaper price here, a way to get a ton of leverage, it is risky. Jonnu Smith is in play. Other guys I want to mention here, I am probably going to scroll down, and first of all, let's start at the top here with Jonathan Taylor. I am not playing Jonathan Taylor in any type of format over the last couple of weeks. I will not be playing him tonight. I believe he's losing the backfield. If anything, he's splitting that almost 3 ways now between Hines and Wilkins and himself. You can see here, if you go to the game logs, they're not pretty. The guy has had ample opportunity since Marlon Mack went down to basically take over as a lead back, and he just has not done that. If you go to the stats, if you compare it to last year, this offensive line is still elite. He is just not performing. So I think they're losing confidence in him. He fumbled last week. That's always been an issue with Jonathan Taylor. Hines here is not necessarily getting all the carries. He's getting most of the third down work. But if you scroll down here, in the interesting spot is Jordan Wilkins. He has 2 games in terms of double-digit touches, especially rushing touches in the backfield here. You can see week 8, he had a great week 8 there with 20-plus fantasy points on DraftKings, had 20 attempts for 89 yards. Last week wasn't as hot, but still nonetheless looks like the guy that should be leading that backfield. And I like this spot for him. I like him. He's probably my favorite captain tonight because I do believe the Colts are going to establish the run tonight. I believe that they're going to take the lead and win this game in particular. Tennessee, as I mentioned, their secondary is graded very, very well, whereas the rushing defense of Tennessee is graded, I believe it's like 16th or 17th from Pro Football Focus. More importantly, I think it's like 19th overall in terms of yards per carry at 4.5 yards per carry given up. So they're certainly a bottom half of the league, possibly even bottom 10 in the league in terms of stopping the run. None of these backs are elite in my opinion, but I think you go with the guy that has the, I wouldn't say hot hand, but the guy that's getting the carries right now, and that is Jordan Wilkins. So let's throw him in the captain spot for now. He is by far my favorite captain. And if I want to stick to what I predict in this game, and that is that the Indianapolis Colts take the lead. They want to establish the run, get in, get out in terms of Tennessee here. I don't believe they want to rely on the pass too much. I do not like very many receivers for Indianapolis. But as a result, we should expect Henry to hopefully get shut down here. And we're going to have to come back with the passing attack. And I think you throw all 3 of these players in here. That is A.J. Brown, Corey Davis, and Tannehill. All 3 are in play. Yes, it is a tough matchup. Yes, it's going to be tough for them to do a lot versus this good Indianapolis defense. But should they be trailing, which, again, I'm betting on that. I'm hoping that Tennessee does trail here. All 3 of these guys are going to have to be heavily involved to make this a game here. So I think all 3 of those guys are in play. In addition to that, I do like Jonnu Smith. If you want to come off A.J. Brown and save some money here and go to Jonnu Smith, I think that's definitely in play with Corey Davis. Additionally, you could come off of Corey Davis and go back to A.J. Brown. But all of those players are in play there. Other players I think are worth considering, probably not Phillip Rivers. I think it's too up and down. I do not think they have to rely on Phillip Rivers in this game. I mean, you have games where he has thrown multiple touchdowns. Basically, if you believe Phillip Rivers is going to throw 3 touchdowns in this game, that's really the only way he's worth it in my mind, and I don't think that's the case here. He may throw 1, but I do not think this is a double touchdown game for Phillip Rivers, and I don't think he's having the greatest year in my opinion. But I do like Pascal here. I think he, of all receivers, Zach Pascal is in a better spot than most. You could go with him, or I guess you could go with T.Y. Hilton. Hilton is a little banged up, but I think Pascal is probably my favorite receiver for the Indianapolis Colts here. And then any other players that I would consider, I don't believe Hines is in play again. I like Wilkins mostly of that backfield. But if you want to go there, certainly you can. I think that gets you a lot of leverage. It's just not fitting in my lineups right now. The guy I'm looking at mostly, and this is going to be a game-time call, so we know a couple of things about the Colts. Doyle is out at tight end. That's going to open up a lot more for Mo Alley-Cox and Trey Burton. In addition to that, Mo Alley-Cox is banged up. He's about a 50-50 chance of playing this game. We know Phillip Rivers does like going to his tight ends. I think if he is out, Trey Burton is 100% in play. Trey Burton is actually in play at captain should Mo Alley-Cox be rolled out or should be limited tonight. So something to consider there. But I put together a lineup here. We have some more to work with. We can come off Jonnu Smith and probably fit in, A.J. Brown here. So this is certainly a lineup I do like right off the bat here. May even play this tonight. But you have my thoughts tonight. I think you definitely can rely on certain things to happen. In fact, as I mentioned, my prediction for tonight is the Indianapolis Colts do win this game outright, even though they're slight favorites on the road here. They're going to rely on the run. That's why I'm going with Wilkins. And they're going to try to come back here with hopefully a Tennessee passing attack that can get done some damage, do some damage to the air here. Certainly the best 2 receivers from that team, Brown and Corey Davis. And then Trey Burton, of course, in play with Mo Alley-Cox banged up. Hopefully Alley-Cox is out, making Burton even a better play. And then Zach Pascal, I think, is the best receiver to target from this team, just simply because of his reliability. T.Y. Hilton has not had a good year. And then anyone else, I believe most receivers on that team are banged up at the point except for Zach Pascal. So I think you could realistically continue to get 6 or 7 targets, which is something you like here, even though you're relying on them to lean on the run here. All these guys in play. Hey guys, if you see anything else, if I'm missing out here, please leave me some comments down below. I do appreciate you all tuning in. As always, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Give these videos a like. It goes a long way in helping us out here at No Huddle Fantasy Sports. But besides that, have fun tonight. Don't try to make a living off DraftKings Showdown, please. I beg you guys not to try to do that. Let me know, again, your thoughts on tonight's slate. If I missed anything, if there's anybody better to play at captain, or if I'm just crazy here by going with Wilkins. I'd love to hear from you guys. But as always, good luck tonight, and I will catch you in the next video.